All right, welcome back, guys. I hope you're doing well. Shout out to all the subscribers, as always, and gratitude to anybody new locked in. Welcome along. Thanks for tuning in. So I just watched the press conference from Thursday or yesterday from Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman was on one yesterday. He's really selling that fight. Some of it was quite funny. Some of it was a little bit cringe for me anyway. But the question is for me is he playing out of character? And I say that because a few years ago when he fought Manny Pacquiao, I wasn't making videos back then, but I was picking Thurman to win. I was a little neck and neck, right? This is pre full watching the press conference, right? Then as I'm watching the press conferences, I just noticed a tone of his behavior change, and I just noticed him being a bit out of character. He was doing some sort of like personal attacks to Pacquiao, which Pacquiao didn't care, and it was just very un-Keith Thurman. I know he's a little bit of a quirky dude anyway, but if you watch if you go back and watch the Garcia press conference, Angel Garcia's on one in that. It's brilliant. But Keith Thurman was very respectful. Yeah, he said he was going to knock Garcia out, but he also gave him a lot of plaudit and, you know, a lot of respect. And then Angel Garcia started to do what he does. You know, he's a master at getting to people's heads, but it didn't really work with Keith Thurman. They had a little bit of back and forth, nothing crazy, but watch the energy of Keith Thurman in the Garcia build-up, because that's a fight that he went into that was probably one of his best performances, really. If you want to break down against his best wins, probably that or Porter, but I thought he boxed better against Garcia. He stuck to a game plan. He boxed beautifully. He almost had like a bit of an Andrade about him. He came on like a hit and run, came out early out the gates and boxed a nice win. You know, the Garcia camp thought that they won. I thought Thurman maybe just nicked it, but nonetheless, he boxed really well. He put in a great performance. Well-rounded, beautiful boxing with some power in it as well. But the whole build-up, you know, he was just professional. And as I said, in the Pacquiao one, I just noticed something and I switched. I was like, I don't think there's something wrong, man. He's maybe in too much, or maybe the big stage, maybe this or that. I don't know. And look, it's quite possible that Keith Thurman has been like, you know, advised to like spice it up, because let's be honest, Tim Tszyu, he's a professional. He's not going to go out there and start saying crazy stuff. He believes in himself, and like he's you know, he's just a chill dude. But press conferences like that, you know, can be a little boring if it is too. And if Keith's just being reserved and respectful, then they need to sell this fight, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it definitely happened. I'm just saying that there might have been, you know, somebody in Keith's ears just saying, mate, just go and spice it up a little bit. So, you know, but I don't personally think it's a good look for Thurman if he is acting out of character. Now, obviously, as I said, there's a possibility he's being asked to help sell this fight. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think he's acting out of character? And one of the things that made me cringe a little bit, and I say this personally because it's happened to me, was when he, like, you know, made fun of Tim Tszyu's accent. He's from Australia, I'm from the UK or from England, and you know, I bartended in America for a long time, and I used to get the same the same ones. Like, oh, I don't know what he said, but he said it was impersonating an accent, and it was a terrible version of it. And then they ended in the word mate. And it was just like, it made me laugh, but it was cringeworthy just because I dealt with it personally. But, you know, he also talked about Tim Tszyu's Mexican style, and which it's a lot more than that. And look, it's a very, very advanced Mexican style without the raw Mexicanness of it, if that makes any sense. You know, Tim Tszyu's a more refined version. And he's got some skills, he really does, and they're very, very, very underrated. And I made a defense video about his defense, or a video about his defense. I'll leave the link up here. He's got a lot of subtle moves defensively. He can do it on the front foot as well. I'm actually working on a video. It's called Like Father, Like Son, because, you know, I want to see if he really did fight like his dad. Because as much as I know who his dad is, I knew what he, you know, some of the fights he had, I don't know his style that well. But I'm going back and I'm watching, and there's actually quite a bit of similarity. So that video is coming soon, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm also, shout out to all the Australians locked in, I'm also working on a video for his brother, Nikita. that's called The Butcher, because his nickname's The Butcher, and it's loosely themed off of gangs in New York as well. So that's the artist side of some of these videos that I like to make as well. But back to Keith Thurman, right? He was almost trying too hard for me, you know, like with just selling it. And on like Tim Tszyu looked and sounded a bit nervous, to be honest. I want to touch on that because it's really important, because a lot of times fans do see fighters get nervous, right, or choke up or something, you know, but at the end of the day, they're not nervous about the fight. They're nervous about the millions of people watching and getting on stage and having a mic shoved in their face, coming from the gym, just working hard and grinding in the gym, and that's all they do, and then put on stage and now they're expected to sell it. There's a lot of pressure, you know. I think that's where the nerves come from. And, you know, it happens a lot. You know, I remember David Price, he was a British fighter. He used to get really nervous in some of the build-ups, but I'm not saying he was a really great fighter or anything, but I'm just saying that, you know, there's just fighters that can't deal with it as well. Keith Thurman, this is several times he's on pretty big fights, you know what I mean? The Garcia one, the Porter one, decent sized fights, decent stages, and this is one. Keith Thurman's done it all with the PBC, so this is nothing new to him. So, you know, he looked a lot more confident, obviously, but was he too confident? Was he trying too hard? Was he acting out of character? Personally, I think he was. And again, he might have been selling it, but I still think that there was just a weird, quirky side of it. Now, the thing is about that, which I find so interesting, is psychological, right? If it is indeed that, is like you can't fake the kind of shape and the kind of activity that you've had, or the kind of sessions you've been having in the gym and the kind of activity you've had. I should really look back to see what kind of state he was in. I'm sure he was a lot more active before he fought Garcia. This is my point, is it's natural confidence, okay, going into a bigger fight. He doesn't, and he's just, you know, look, the fight's a few months away, so he's got time to get in the camp. Hard camp will let you build that confidence up massively, not just from sparring, but just from how much you know you've put in. Tyson Fury's a great example with how he's behaving in the Usyk fight. It's not the same Fury because he's not been in shape. He wasn't in shape for Ngannou. He hasn't been fighting top guys. So, like, you know, Wilder 3, but I'm saying Chisora and Ngannou, no disrespect to them, but you know, this is where you get that confidence and that swagger from during the press conferences. You don't have to fake it. And when you start faking it, you act a little different. And this is when it comes out. And that's just a question. Let me know what you think. Do you think he's selling the fight? Because that's quite smart. They do need someone to sell it. It's a big event for them because it's their first one. And there's a lot of pressure on. There's been a lot of backlash. I made a video against the backlash because I thought it was a reasonably good fight considering the list of names that they would have gone through. It wouldn't have been the first choice, Keith Thurman. But nonetheless, I'm still quite pleased about it. I think it's an all right fight. I think he's going to do okay. I think Tim Tszyu's probably going to win. I think he might at this stage. Now I'm leaning towards a late stoppage, to be honest. But this is the kind of fight I'm going to need to see day of for the weigh-in. I want to see Keith Thurman's eyes. I want to see how he looks and feels. I want to see how he behaves. And then I'll probably I'll do a fight breakdown the week of. But I probably will do, you know, the day. I want to see the day of. I want to see what Keith Thurman looks like. But that's it from me. I hope you guys have a lovely weekend. It's Friday today. Peace and I'm out.